Silence is one of the strongest forces you can ever use in a relationship, especially after a breakup or a period of emotional disconnect. Most men think silence means doing nothing, withdrawing, or giving up, but in reality, silence is a strategy, a psychological shift, a reclaiming of your masculine frame. When you stop talking, stop chasing, and stop trying to convince her of your worth, you create the exact space she needs to feel your absence. And in that absence, something powerful begins to happen. She starts to notice the void. She starts to wonder why you're not reaching out. She starts to question whether she misjudged your value. Silence rebuilds your masculine energy because it allows you to step back into your power instead of reacting emotionally. When a woman knows you'll always be there, always respond instantly, always chase no matter what, she loses the sense of urgency. She feels safe but not attracted. Your availability becomes predictable. Your energy becomes too easy. But when you walk away calmly, when you allow distance without bitterness, when you leave her alone with her thoughts, she begins to re-experience something she hasn't felt in a long time, anxiety about losing you. And that anxiety is exactly what reactivates her feelings. Women do not miss you when you are present. They miss you when you are gone. They do not feel attraction when you're begging, pleading, or trying to prove your worth. They feel attraction when they sense they might lose you. Silence reminds her of that possibility. The moment you stop trying to fix everything, the balance shifts. She begins replaying memories, analyzing the past, remembering the moments when she felt loved, desired, or safe with you. All the things she ignored before suddenly feel warm again, and she wonders why you disappeared. The human mind hates unanswered questions. Your silence becomes an unanswered question. It becomes a puzzle she feels compelled to solve. Why isn't he chasing me? Is he done with me? Did he replace me? Did I lose him? These questions create emotional tension, and emotional tension is the birthplace of attraction. She begins to feel something she didn't expect, fear that you might be moving on, fear that she pushed too far, fear that she miscalculated your value, and fear is one of the strongest motivators for a woman to return. The beauty of silence is that it leaves no room for mistakes. When you speak during emotional times, you risk sounding needy, insecure, or reactive. But silence says 1,000 things without you having to say one word. Silence communicates confidence. It communicates strength. It communicates self-respect. It communicates, I'm not chasing what doesn't want me. Silence sends a message that you value yourself enough to step back. And when a woman senses that, she begins to value you more. Your silence resets the dynamic. It brings back the masculine, feminine polarity that was lost. She steps into her emotional space, and you step back into your logical, grounded frame. This is where she begins to feel the natural pull toward your energy again. She feels the emotional gravity returning. Silence also gives her space to process her emotions. Women need to feel the consequences of their decisions. If she walked away, she needs to experience what life really looks like without you. If she disrespected you, she needs to feel the discomfort of that distance. If she took you for granted, she needs to sit with the realization that love is not guaranteed. Silence allows her to confront reality. And reality, without you in it, begins to weigh on her. This is when she starts noticing the small things. The good morning texts that stopped, the comfort of knowing you cared, the attention, the affection, the energy you used to give. She may try to fill the void with distractions, friends, social media, or even talking to other guys. But distractions fade, silence doesn't. Silence stays in her mind. It lingers, it echoes. Time away makes her see what she couldn't see before. And eventually, she starts to soften. Her pride lowers, her heart opens. She goes from confident to curious, from curious to concerned, and from concerned to missing you deeply. All because you stopped giving her what she assumed she would always have, your presence. Silence is not about manipulation. It's about rediscovering your worth, allowing the relationship to breathe, and giving her the emotional contrast she needs to realize what life is like without you. You are not doing it to punish her. You're doing it because chasing her destroys attraction, while giving her space restores it. By choosing silence, you choose yourself, you choose your dignity, you choose self-control, and the man who chooses himself always becomes infinitely more attractive. When she finally feels the weight of losing you, she will begin to come back emotionally long before she returns physically. And that emotional return starts the moment your silence makes her feel something she didn't expect. That's the power of stepping back. That's the power of reclaiming your energy. And that's the power of silence. It rebuilds your value, reverses the dynamic, and makes her realize that losing you is not something she is willing to live with. Silence becomes the bridge that leads her back to you. Self-improvement during silence isn't just about becoming better for her. It's about becoming better for yourself. When a woman pulls away, loses interest, or walks out, most men collapse emotionally. They panic. They obsess. They scroll through old messages, replay every conversation, and check her social media 20 times a day. They spiral downward instead of rising upward. But the men who get her back, the men who actually trigger real attraction again, are the ones who take silence as an opportunity to rebuild their lives with purpose. They understand that attraction isn't created by words, it's created by energy, and nothing shifts your energy more powerfully than focusing relentlessly on your own growth. When you invest in yourself instead of chasing her, you flip the psychological script. You send an unspoken message: I'm not sitting here waiting, I'm building. That message hits deeper than any text you could ever send. Women are biologically and emotionally drawn to movement, direction, ambition, and confidence. A man who is improving becomes unpredictable, he becomes exciting, he becomes rare. While most guys fall apart after being ignored or rejected, you begin to rise. That alone makes her pause and take notice. She may not reach out immediately, but she watches. Trust me, women always watch. They may not like your photos, they may not reply to your stories, but they are paying attention. And when she sees you leveling up silently, without seeking validation, it creates a powerful emotional reaction, curiosity mixed with regret. Self-improvement during silence works for a simple reason. A woman is attracted to who you are becoming, not who you were. If the man you were wasn't enough to keep her invested, the solution isn't to chase, it's to evolve. Every change you make becomes part of the story she tells herself later. When she sees you hitting the gym consistently, your body changing, your confidence rising, it makes her rethink everything. When she sees you focused on your goals, working on your finances, sharpening your mind, it forces her to question whether she misjudged your potential. When she sees you social, positive, smiling, and moving forward instead of drowning in heartbreak, she begins to miss the version of you she never got to experience. Women feel attraction through emotion, but they respect through witnessing growth. And respect is the foundation of long-term attraction. Without respect, she will never choose you again. But when she sees you becoming stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, her respect slowly returns. Not because you talked your way into it, but because you lived your way into it. During this silence, your mission is simple: become the highest, you version of yourself. Level up in every dimension. Your body is a reflection of discipline. Your mindset is a reflection of emotional strength. Your lifestyle is a reflection of your ambition. And your energy is a reflection of your inner stability. When these things grow, she feels it even from a distance. Hi, Val, you men don't wait for someone to come back. They live, they grow, they sharpen themselves, and ironically, that's exactly why women come back. Every time you show progress, You shift her emotional landscape. She may have once felt comfortable walking away. She may have believed you would always be available. But self-improvement replaces that comfort with uncertainty. She begins to question whether you are slipping out of her grasp. She begins to realize that if she doesn't act, someone else might notice the man you're becoming. That anxiety slowly turns into desire. Not the superficial desire based on looks alone, but the deep, instinctive desire rooted in seeing a man evolve into his power. The man you become during silence determines how she will feel when she returns. If you stay the same, she feels nothing. If you improve a little, she becomes curious. But if you transform, she becomes drawn to you again, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Not because you demanded it, but because your growth made the old version of you obsolete. Women always notice when a man becomes more confident, more self-assured, more disciplined. They notice when your posture changes, when your voice becomes calmer, when your eyes become more focused. These things cannot be faked. They come from real internal work, and real work has real impact. Self-improvement also helps you detach. When your life is full, work, gym, goals, hobbies, friends, you feel less emotional dependence on her. Suddenly, she's not the center of your world anymore. You are. That alone creates a powerful shift in your energy. You go from wanting her back to choosing whether she even deserves a place in your new, upgraded life. This internal shift is what pulls her emotionally toward you. Women chase certainty at first, but they fall in love with mystery. Your evolution becomes that mystery. Patience is one of the most underestimated forms of power a man can hold, especially in relationships. Most men fail to get a woman back not because she won't return, but because they ruin the process by acting too soon, speaking too quickly, or reacting emotionally. They break silence before it has done its work. They rush to fix things before she has even felt the loss. They try to speed up what only time can heal. But the truth is simple. If she was the one who walked away, disconnected, pulled back, or lost interest, then she must be the one to come forward again. Anything else destroys the polarity. Patience is not passive. It is strategic discipline. It is choosing long-term results over short-term relief. When you stay patient and let her come to you first, you are respecting the fundamental psychology of attraction. Women need emotional space to miss you, to think about you, to feel the consequences of their decisions. When you force your presence, you block that emotional process. When you reach out first, you remove her opportunity to feel longing. And longing is what brings her back, not logic. A woman cannot return to you out of obligation. She must return out of desire. And desire takes time to rebuild. It grows in silence. It grows in uncertainty. It grows in your absence. This is where patience becomes your greatest advantage. During this period, she will go through emotional waves. At first, she may feel relief after pulling away or ending things. She tells herself she made the right decision. She convinces herself she doesn't need you. She posts, she smiles, she distracts herself, but as time passes, that emotional high starts to fade. The thoughts she tried to suppress about you begin to resurface. She begins remembering moments, conversations, the way you made her feel safe, valued, or attracted. She starts noticing the difference between your presence and the noise around her, and she starts to wonder why you disappeared so calmly. That calmness eats at her more than anything else. Most men ruin this stage by interrupting the process. They panic when she doesn't come back immediately. They assume silence isn't working, but silence is not magic. It is a slow burn. Patience allows that burn to do its work. The longer you stay silent, the more she feels the weight of losing you. The more she wonders if you have moved on. the more she questions her decision, the more she debates whether to reach out. Eventually, her emotional tension becomes too strong to ignore, and that tension is what pushes her to make the first contact. When she finally reaches out, whether through a simple hey, a question, a memory, or even liking your posts, it's because she is feeling the emotional distance you created. She wants reassurance without admitting it. She wants connection without seeming vulnerable. She wants your energy back in her life, even if she doesn't fully understand why. But here is where patience becomes even more important. Many men break the polarity by flooding her with attention the moment she returns. They treat her message like a lifeline, they overengage, and that immediately resets the dynamic back to desperation. The key is to receive her contact with calm, confident energy, not coldness, not hostility, but calm strength. You must act like a man who is open to connection but not dependent on it. She needs to feel that reaching out was her choice, not your need. Because when she initiates, the desire is real. And when you respond with ease, not urgency, she feels safe returning. Patience also protects you from making emotional decisions. After a breakup or distance, your heart wants to pull her back instantly, but your emotions are unreliable during this stage. Patience allows your mind to regain clarity. It gives you time to reflect on whether she truly deserves to come back into your life. It gives you time to rebuild your self-worth so you don't accept crumbs out of desperation. It gives you time to transform yourself into a man who chooses, not a man who waits helplessly. And when she does return, you're no longer the man she walked away from. You're stronger, calmer, wiser. Letting her come to you first is also about respecting her emotional process. If she was the one who withdrew, she is responsible for reversing that decision. She must feel the internal shift. She must feel the regret. She must feel the longing. If you do it for her, it won't last. If you chase her back, she may come, but she will not stay. Because she didn't choose it from her heart, she responded out of pressure. But when she comes back voluntarily, it comes from a deep emotional realization. She values you, she misses you, and she fears losing you completely. Patience is not you sitting around waiting. Patience is you living your life while the silence works in your favor. It's you improving, growing, leveling up. It's you showing through your actions, not your words, that you are not dependent on her. That you are a man of standards. That you have your own mission, your own direction, your own strength. This becomes magnetic when she finally reaches out, when she finally returns after the silence. That moment becomes the true test of your growth. Most men fail here not because she isn't willing to reconnect, but because they collapse back into the same behaviors that pushed her away in the first place. They become overly excited, overly available, overly emotional. They start asking questions, seeking reassurance, wanting to know why she left, who she talked to, what made her come back. They smother the fragile spark before it has a chance to grow. But the man who understands attraction knows that the comeback stage is where confidence matters most. The energy you bring now determines whether her return becomes temporary or permanent. When she comes back, she is not looking for explanations. She is feeling you out. She wants to see if the man you've become is solid, stable, grounded. She wants to feel your confidence in the way you move, the way you speak, the way you listen. She wants to see if you've grown, or if you're still drowning in the insecurity she walked away from. Your job is simple. Guide the connection, don't control it. You don't need to interrogate her. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to prove anything. Your calm presence says everything. This is where you show her what you learned during the silence: self-respect, emotional maturity, and a deeper understanding of your value. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means you don't cling, you don't rush, you don't over-explain. You don't try to lock her down immediately. In fact, you slow things down. That restraint is magnetic. It tells her you're not desperate. It tells her you're not afraid to lose her. And ironically, that is exactly what makes her feel safe coming closer. Women reconnect with men who feel emotionally stable, not men who feel emotionally hungry. If you act like you need her, she will pull back. But if you act like you choose her calmly, intentionally, she will lean in. This dynamic is subtle but powerful. Once she's back, your boundaries matter more than ever. This doesn't mean being harsh or distant. It means having standards for how you allow yourself to be treated. If she wants to rebuild, it must be mutual. You don't accept mixed signals. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't settle for half effort. You lead with confidence by expecting consistency, communication, and respect. And the way you uphold those standards isn't by lecturing her, it's by showing her through your actions that you are a man who values himself. The moment she senses that your self-worth is genuine, she responds with deeper attraction and even deeper loyalty. Rebuilding the connection is not about rushing into heavy talks or forcing emotional intensity. It's about bringing back the lightness, the playfulness, the attraction that existed at the beginning before the arguments, before the stress, before the imbalance. You want her to feel good around you, not pressured. You want her to feel excited, not overwhelmed. This is where your confidence helps create the emotional space for attraction to grow organically. The more comfortable she feels, the more she opens up. The more she opens up, the more the connection deepens. Confidence also means you don't revisit the past unless she brings it up. Most men destroy the reunion by digging into old wounds. But you don't need to relive the breakup. You don't need to reanalyze what went wrong. You already lived it. You already learned from it. The past is data, not a prison. If she wants to talk, you listen without attachment. You acknowledge without blame. You validate without losing yourself. That emotional steadiness tells her she's dealing with a new man, not the old one. Women crave emotional safety, and nothing creates that safety more than a man who stays calm during emotionally loaded conversations. Another crucial part of rebuilding is pacing. After she comes back, your instinct might be to speed things up. See her more often, text more, call more, spend as much time together as possible. But attraction grows in rhythm, not in rush. You lead by setting a healthy pace. Let the connection breathe. Allow her to invest emotionally. Let her show effort. The more she invests, the deeper her commitment becomes. If you carry the entire weight of the reconnection, it becomes unbalanced again. But if you let her contribute emotionally, she becomes truly invested in the relationship. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. It shows up in how you handle disagreements, how you maintain your life outside the relationship, how you remain secure even when things aren't perfect. She needs to feel that your center doesn't shake easily. The man who holds his center creates a gravitational pull so strong that she naturally gravitates toward him. And that's how you build a connection that doesn't collapse at the first sign of stress.